Oh my God!
Making position for 4 lifetime friends and an old man. Listens to this every week. Hi, I'm not Aaron and not your host.
No, but I think you owe us money for that headband.
Yeah, that thing's cool. Where'd you get that?
What the heck? That's not on our Etsy shop.
It was in a dumpster at Walmart.
No,
That's not
checks out.
officially sanctioned piece
Hey,
of
if we're at
merchandise.
Walmart, we're doing good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can you introduce yourself, good sir?
I said I am not Aaron, not the host. Oh,
Yeah.
I got something growing in my ears. So, who are you guys?
Well, I am.
Okay, where's that stupid joke? Is this the stupid joke time?
Wow, this host talks
He
over
burnt.
me even more than the other host does. So this is Joe the groundskeeper, EA Sports. It's in the game.
That's not a joke.
That's
good-
it.
That's pretty close, though. I'm Jay Lee the Rover.
I'm Corey the Statman, and I cannot stop watching you chew gum. Let me tell you, man. What an event this is. Anyway, how are you doing, sir?
Sponsored by Double Bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm doing great.
What's
How
up,
you
not
guys doing?
Aaron?
yeah. Not Aaron, not the host.
What's that shirt say? I'm retired. Now I work for my grandkids.
Yeah, that
Nice.
checks out. You
That's a
got a
good
lot of
shirt.
them, too.
Yeah.
So,
But they're worth
Pat.
entertaining.
I mean, not Pat, not Aaron, not the host.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on the Orioles being sold?
Oh, go Chiefs. Go Chiefs.
Different sport, but I
Oh,
like
wow.
where your head's at.
What
Sorry.
percentage stake did you get in there? We
Yeah.
know you.
I think I gotta go. My grandkids are
You got that
running
golden
around the
arch
house. I
money
don't know where they're at.
under
So-
your
Hey,
mattress.
you can come.
Guys,
You can go back and host anytime.
You
Absolutely.
guys are
Yeah.
awesome. Love you
got
guys. Bye-bye.
See you, not Aaron.
Yeah. Bye, not Aaron. Hey, no, bring him back. He was way better than the host.
already getting fired.
We got a new host.
Twice in 3 weeks, I've been replaced.
Ooh, well, that
I
was
didn't
fun.
know we had Axl Rose stopping by to host.
I don't know.
That was nice.
What?
Why did it
Vince
take
Neil?
so long to get that set up?
I was texting him. I'm like, I want to text you when we're about ready to start. And he wasn't paying. I was like, I can see him. I'm like, come on. That's why I'm like, oh, I got a question. I'm trying to stall for him. Yeah,
Is
so
that-
that's my dad. This is the only week he hasn't texted us anything, but he was here, so I figured, that works.
Long time.
I
Fan
was
of the
wondering.
pod.
Long
time.
time, yeah.
Loyal.
Goes way back to even last year. But yeah, so he made a joke about it. I'm like, actually, I was thinking the same thing. So figured we'd sneak him in here.
My wife
His headband
just,
is so cool.
yeah, my wife did just ask me how many people watch a week, and I said, well, at least Pat does. So
Yep. Yeah, he
at
already
least
knows.
one. But yeah, where did he get that headband?
I didn't want to spoil that, but I actually bought those. You guys got some coming. I was going to try to surprise you guys with them somehow. I've been talking to your wives, trying to get addresses. And then, except for Joe, I know Joe lives by my dad. He'll just drop it off. So you guys got some coming. They're going to be sent your way for our 1-year birthday.
Oh,
I actually made them, and
Oh.
then like the week I had them shipped here, Corey's like, "Hey guys, check out all this merchandise we've got." I'm like, "Well, that just burst my bubble." So I've been holding on to them for months. But I figured 1-year birthday party, we'll get Rake your position headbands. So
Thanks, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
very sweet. And I've cut my hair since then, so I don't wear them anymore. But we can rock them anyway.
Well, I don't have any hair, but it still keeps the sweat out of my eye.
That's
yeah,
right.
I wear a
They're
headband
great.
when I work out, or else my eyes hurt.
So you don't wear any.
But
Once or twice a week.
him.
Hey, speaking of birthdays, everybody, this is episode 42. It's a baseball podcast. Got my KC Monarchs hat on because today is actually Jackie Robinson's birthday. That worked out perfectly. Like we planned this a year ago. Hey guys,
Mhm.
episode 42
Around
needs
this.
to be
Mhm.
on Jackie's birthday. That's the whole reason we started this. So just a shout out to Jackie Robinson. Baseball would not be the same without him. Really the world, the U.S. world would not be the same without him. But it's just, we've seen the movie and really we can't even.
Some of us like it more than others.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we can't even. We all like it as far as rewatchable movies. It's tough because of the way it captures what he really went through. And so
It doesn't make you feel super great.
no,
It's not a
it
feel
doesn't.
good watch any day of the week sort of movie.
Yeah, last week when we said don't be an idiot in history, it shows a lot of people being idiots in history, and I'm glad we're not there anymore. But every day we can, as a world and as people, we can do better to treat each other with kindness. And so thankful for Jackie. Can't imagine all the stuff that he had to go through just to play baseball, and to do it so well with so many distractions is awesome. So happy birthday, Jackie Robinson.
Happy birthday.
Episode 42 is for
42.
Jackie.
Well
And
said, Aaron.
Dodger Blue, I guess.
Did
With that being
anybody
said, go ahead.
did anybody end up taking him for our ultimate draft
I did.
second?
Yeah, Corey had him
No.
second.
Or didn't.
I know I didn't take him at second. But
Yeah, 'cause you took
yeah,
Roger
you
Hornsby.
baseman of all time.
You know you didn't.
I mean,
Has
numbers don't
8
lie.
less All-Star appearances than Jose Altuve. Ridiculous.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so good. We've got a little bit of news to kick us off. And then we've got a fun contest, a little competition, a little rankings, a little special offseason rankings is what we've got. So Jared, share this little bit of news with us that we've been
Hang
reading
on.
about.
Hang on. Yep. Okay. All right. So you guys know I'm the Seattle insider. Well, Baltimore thought I did such a good job, so they asked me to break their breaking news, even though I think it's been broke pretty much everywhere, but except for on this podcast where everybody
It's not
listens to.
official until
Yeah.
it's Rake
Yeah.
What happens
official.
here. But the Orioles have been bought. Headed by Baltimore native David Rubenstein. But then we got some familiar faces that have also invested in this. I think some of you might know him, played a little bit, I think for Baltimore, maybe. I don't know.
Played a few
lot of
games.
games. Yeah, played a few games in a row. Mr. Cal Ripken Jr. is part of this. And then I'd say one of Cooney's favorite basketball players of all time. I think I could say that, right?
Yeah, that's the only signed basketball I have.
Perfect.
Penny
Grant
Hardaway,
Hill.
though.
It's not Penny, but Grant Hill.
He was
Um,
honestly my second favorite, and he's a Dookie, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, that's tough. But
Without
Can
injuries, he probably goes to Hall of Fame. He was amazing.
Can you expand on the term dookie? Because I'd like to follow up on
He's
that.
a big Dookie,
I
a
don't know if
big
we
blue
need to do
one.
that.
I grew up a Tar Heel fan, basketball, so I didn't root for him at all in college. But then the minute with the NBA, I'm like, this dude's a stud. I love watching him play. And then he came play for the Magic for a little bit, but that was one of the careers.
Shell.
The injury started stacking up, but he could do it all, man. He could play point guard at 6'9" if you needed him to, 6'7", however tall he was. It was a blast to watch.
So you say he was LeBron James before LeBron James?
Yes, because Penny Hardaway was the Kobe Bryant before Kobe Bryant.
Wow. Okay.
All right. I
I'm not sure
I
either
did
of
not want
those.
this I didn't want this
Expertise.
conversation to go that way because I'm gonna defend my boy in an entirely different podcast at some point. But
If you want to hear
Anyway.
Jared rage, Jared does not rage that much, but mouth
Mm-mm.
Kobe, and it's off.
I'm
Yeah.
not mouthing
Looking
him.
at-
I'm just
I'm
saying
looking
he
at you,
barely
Joe.
breaks the top
Ah.
25.
anyway, Baltimore
Excuse me?
bought for $1.7 billion. We're moving on from this Kobe Bryant slander. I won't have it on this podcast.
1.7 billies, huh?
1.7 billies. How many billies is that, Joe?
It's like that's like a milli billies.
A milli billy. Nice. Anyway,
Well,
go ahead, Corey.
That's not how numbers work.
that's not quite exactly how.
Well, Corey,
Yeah,
you're the
it
stat man, so figure
I
it
cut
out.
the
for us.
grass.
Break it down. Send us a pie chart, whatever.
It's 1,700 billies. I don't or millies. That's not even right either.
Why
Hello,
are there
balloons.
balloons happening right now? I don't know.
Orioles are sold.
Happy birthday, Jackie. I guess those are for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the cool thing about this, too, Aaron said it off the pod, is all these teams getting bought for this amount of money means their payroll and their team should increase, which hopefully, what is going on?
For our
I think it's fair to
listeners-
say happy birthday.
Happy
For our
birthday.
listeners, Jared just has balloons streaming across his screen for some reason.
Everywhere. Watch it on YouTube if you haven't.
Yeah, digital balloons.
So hopefully that makes their payroll for their team go up because I mean they already got such young, exciting crew. Hopefully they can lock those pieces in to make this Baltimore team good for a while.
Did you see how much Peter Angelos bought the team for, like in the early 90s?
I didn't see that. No.
173 million. 30
Pretty
years
well.
later, 1.75 billion.
Corey,
I went from
Not
M
bad.
to B. If anybody's listening.
Corey, off the top of your head. So if I wonder what, return on investment, I wonder how many years they extrapolate that out. And if you're paying 1.7 billion for something, what do you think you're making a year if you're willing to pay 1.7 for something?
I don't. I was doing
Like-
something else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Corey,
Yeah.
How dare
you
you
were
ask
on
Corey's
this
that?
working-
podcast
He's
for
He's
a
working on his
reason.
taxes.
You run the numbers for us all times. You got to be ready for these kinds of questions, man. This is ridiculous.
I'm trying to see what if you got 8%. So if you got 8% on 173 million for 30 years, that's 960 million. So just shy of a billy. So okay, I'm just trying to see like
So 16% a year, not 8. I mean, double that.
well, I don't think that's how compound interest works because that's 8 billion. Compound interest is a little bit more complicated, Aaron, where your money makes money for you. It's about 10% gets you to
There
1.67.
you go.
I'm
I'm
more
not
interested
even-
in Joe's question.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that
go
wasn't my-
ahead. I'm
that
ready. I'm
wasn't my
prepared
question.
now.
So you're the smart math guy. If you buy
So you
something
say.
for 1.7 billies, what are you thinking you're generating a year? I'm sure there's a very similar equation that all these deals go by. What's the
So what interest rate do you want? Like a 3? Like a pretty conservative?
I want to know how much they make a year based off a purchase price of 1.7.
I don't understand your question, I guess.
Like, so if the team makes $30 a year, they're not going to pay 1.7 billion for it. What is the
Oh.
number they have to get to in order to say yes, 1.7 is a good asking price? Is that
I have no
200
idea.
million profit a year? You have no idea, and you build bridges? Wow.
This is
These are two.
insane.
I think you're the one
Can
who has
you
the
just-
economics degree, don't you?
Can you just
Yeah,
take
yeah,
the
Joe's got the
Statman off
money
your
degree.
name? You're just Corey now.
That's
You're
fine.
just Corey. No Statman.
Ready to retire.
Speaking of the money, though, there was some interesting things in it I saw. They are minority owners because it's Rubenstein and another guy. There's 2 billionaires that partnered for this mainly. They are minority owners until Peter Angelos, the patriarch, passes away. Because if they sell it while he's still alive, he has to pay a ridiculous capital gains tax. So they're waiting for that to happen, which is kind of weird. Like we need to put that in the contract that this guy's going to die, which is kind of weird way to do business, but it's going to save him a ton of money. So whenever that happens, these guys will be majority owners. So I don't know if they're investing in it now, they might be willing to raise the payroll because they're already invested, or if they'll have to wait until they have full control before they raise the payroll.
They haven't said anything about like front office changes or nothing, have they? I mean,
I don't.
considering how
Yeah,
successful.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
Cal going to
Say no.
have any control? Is Cal going to be active? I haven't seen any of that. Like Jeter was active when he helped buy the Marlins. I didn't know if Cal Ripken was getting involved.
I haven't heard
Everything
anything.
I just saw. Yeah, everything I saw about him is he was just excited to be a part of the organization again. I don't think it specified like what exactly
Gotcha.
he's going to be doing.
Just
Probably playing
having him
shortstop for
around
him again.
yeah, having him around for PR and generating fan interest is going to be huge. So we're all excited about that. Go Baltimore.
Yep. Everybody wants
Go
Baltimore.
sign Adley Rutschman to a lifetime contract.
Yes. And then sign me to, I don't know, like clean his shin guards or something. I'd be happy to do that.
You might need
Get a seat in the dugout.
Yeah.
I'd do about anything.
Excuse me, sir. Can I shine your shin guards?
Mhm.
Shine your shins? Shin shine?
a
I need
shin
you to
shiner.
aim.
Yeah.
That's
I
almost
need
like
you
a
to aim
dookie.
higher, Corey. You could be a bullpen catcher.
I have to get the ball back to the pitcher, and that's a bit tough sometimes. Maybe if they just get a bucket and they just swap it out every time. New ball every pitch.
It's got a giant net behind the pitchers and the bullpens, and Corey just hits the net somehow. It falls down.
Well, so I'm creating jobs because there's going to be a guy that runs the bucket of balls between me and the
I'll
pitcher.
do that.
Also,
Yeah, look at that. See,
how many
You
pieces
drop
of
it
gum
next
are
to
you
you.
going to put in your mouth?
it's not
This
gum.
is-
It's little fruit candy.
Oh, okay.
This is probably a good time to bring up a little text message spat that we had about the fact that I said
Careful.
I can throw harder than anybody on this pod, and instead of a resounding "we know," which is the proper response, I was hit
Because
with
you
like
can't.
3 people who thought they could throw harder than me.
Once we
there's
started talking
one.
about throwing, my arm started hurting, and I stopped talking.
There's one person here that said they could throw harder than you, and it's me. And we have the proof.
You didn't throw harder than me, dude.
Yes, I did.
At best, you tied me.
Hard.
I blacked out.
And
we-
Corey insinuated that he could have a dog in this fight.
Can we do a proper scenario where like everybody gets to warm up and then we get somebody with a radar gun and then we do this? Because doing it at a
Corey.
baseball field where you throw you take 3 throws and you throw them all as hard as you can
It is.
after you've sat in the car for 3 hours is the worst possible thing that you could do for your
Yeah.
health.
Yeah, we'll set it up.
Your health or
Listeners, you vote. Who do you think can throw the hardest?
Can we throw left-handed?
I don't care.
All 4 of us.
Joe,
I-
you can't
yeah,
throw
I've
harder
been-
than me. You're a second baseman.
All right. With that spat now public, geez, Joe, airing our dirty laundry for all to hear.
Eric.
Air it out. Take us into any more news? Couple signings. Turner signed. Blue Jays. Neris
Nothing
signed
crazy.
Cubs. Still waiting on Bellinger and Snell, the 2 big dogs, which is crazy. We got 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, pitchers and catchers will be there, and Snell will be MIA. But yeah, nothing else
In
really
Miami?
happened. Hey, why not?
No. Well, our next topic here is a fun one, so we better get to it so we can spend enough time. This was, I don't really know where this came from, but we got several topics that are on our board. We're still going to do. We're going to get to those, but this one came to mind and we threw it together. I think it's going to be a blast. So the best thing is playing baseball. As a kid, you try to get as many friends as you can. You go outside, you play. As a teenager, as an adult, I guess you do the same thing. You try to get enough people to have a game and you go outside and play. But let's say it's raining. Let's say you can't go outside. Let's say you got a broken leg, and you're housebound. Well, up until about 1980, that meant you're watching from the window. But something's come along here in the past couple decades. And I'm going to give to our listeners, I need you to pull up YouTube, regardless of what activity you're doing. I'm going to show something to the camera real quick. And it's my shirt. Don't make fun of how tight it is. I'm sorry. So that is a
Hockey.
picture. That is an 8-bit picture of Bo Jackson. And no, we're not going to talk about football games, but on a cold, rainy day, we can now play some video games. So we're going to go through some of our favorite baseball video games growing up. Think about your own as we go through here. We have 2 guys that kind of grew up 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. And then we have some guys who were about
Old.
I don't even know how much older we are than you guys. 7, 8 years behind us or something. So
8. So yes, correct. 7 and 8.
So anyway, I've been excited
That's how good
about
of
it.
friends we are.
How are you?
I mean, it is a
What?
vastly different game spread.
100%.
It's
I mean,
kinda
Curious
crazy.
curious question before we jump into this. What was the first console you guys owned?
Sega Genesis.
NES.
You had a Sega Genesis. Well, you had older brothers too. Yeah, Sega Genesis.
Yeah, like that I owned or that was in my
Yeah,
household?
like what's yours? Yeah.
in 64.
64. Okay, a little bit further back than I thought. Mine was
Wow.
Nintendo,
Yeah.
but Genesis was
Yeah.
my first big one. Yeah, we had Nintendo briefly, then we got Genesis. What about you,
I'm
Joe?
a-
You had Atari,
I had
I'm
it.
sure.
I briefly remember Atari. Definitely not any baseball games on Atari.
Nope.
But NES was what we got. I remember getting it brand new. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have stuff on this list from NES all the way up to PS5, or I mean, some of these franchises are still going. So
Yeah.
um, we're gonna have a lot of fun
my
with it.
my grandma had an Atari. This is not related to our talk, but like, and she had it, and it still worked up until I was like 15, and that was like whenever we went to her house, that was basically what we did is we played the Atari.
Yeah, my neighbors, shout out to the Kingeries, they had an Atari until we were in high school. They had like 7 of them and they all broke and they like put them all together into one. And we
Frankenstein.
we seriously had like over 100 games between the two of us. We played Atari a lot, but I would consider that mine. My dad had one growing up, so we had some games laying around.
So we each completed a poll and submitted our top 9 favorite baseball video games. And we had a total of 19 submissions
It's not bad.
from
Yeah,
the
I thought
different
it'd be more.
franchises. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean the first 3 we went like I think there was one additional added for the 4th submission after the first 3. So um but we had quite a few only get 1 vote, obviously, if there's 19 submissions. And so kind of what we're going to kick off as kind of our honorable mention segment is the games that each of us voted the highest, that we're the only ones that voted for them, or that me being the person who put this list together think should have been on the list. So Joe and Aaron's both, they're the only ones that voted for them. They both also voted for them as their second highest rated game. These bananas games they're about to talk about were their second
Dude,
You're gonna
favorite
regret saying
baseball
that,
games.
Corey.
Jared and I both had games that another person voted for, but I think that they are games that people are going to know about and want us to talk about it. So, Joe, because this is just how
Because
it
what?
worked out with the second part of this segment, I'm going to kick it over to you with the game Bases Loaded 3. Not the first one, not the second one, but
The
Bases
third.
Loaded 3.
So I will say for myself, and I'm assuming this is for y'all too. This is not a ranking of like when I rank these games, it was 90% nostalgia and my memories of playing them and 10% gameplay because
100%.
this, this is a game for NES. When did this thing come out? I want to say 91 or 92. I actually have it right here in front of me. So listeners, you're going to want to become viewers as I pull this out. Bases Loaded 3. Look at that. Inside the NES
Dude, that's
sleeve.
That's actually
beautiful.
really cool. Yeah,
That's
that's
so
awesome.
beautiful.
Corey, who's
Ryan
that?
Sandberg. It's Ryan
That is
Sandberg.
Ryan Sandberg on the cover. So this is for NES. I remember playing this in the early 90s and not a great game, but it had
Way to
stats.
sell it.
It had different batting stances. It had different pitching motions. The gameplay was decent enough for a baseball game from that time period. So it's the one I remember falling in love with first and played a lot, until much better games came around. But so that's why it was number 2 for me. I've never played Bases Loaded 1. I never played Bases Loaded 2, and I think they made several more after Bases Loaded 3. But
So I have the
franchise.
Wikipedia page pulled up,
Uh,
and
okay,
they do have Bases Loaded 4, and then there's some more after that. But there's a line on the Wikipedia page, just in case anybody was wondering, that states the game is the third in the NES Bases Loaded series, following Bases Loaded 2.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you're
thanks
welcome.
Wikipedia.
That's awesome.
So,
I don't
so
know
that's
that I
why I
played
had that
this
one
one.
rated.
I don't know if I played this one much. Which perspective did it have? Did it throw from the pitcher or did you kind of see from above and behind the batter?
Oh man, now I gotta think.
It
So
threw
when
from
you
the pitcher.
pitched, yeah, you threw from the pitcher. It looked like a how you show it on TV now. You got that camera a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
offset to the side. Yeah.
So I remember that,
You could
and
throw curveballs and changeups and fastballs. You really didn't know how to throw them. You just smashed buttons and something would happen.
yeah. I remember that one and RBI baseball. The RBI baseball kind of looked the same.
I had RBI baseball on my list because it came out 3 or 4 years earlier, so it was similar, just worse.
Gotcha. Yeah, I never really played either of those games, but they were super popular.
Jared, do you have anything to add for Bases Loaded 3 on the NES?
Can't say I ever played it, but it's really dope that Joe still has the cartridge.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's
So
actually really cool.
our next pod is we play these games.
That
I
would
would
be a
play it, but
blast.
Joe nailed it. Like a lot of these games that I put in there, gameplay not great, but a lot of nostalgia. So that's cool.
Oh, see, mine was straight gameplay. I don't. Um, but I'll kick it off on the next one. And this one I actually was a little bit confusing with the list. Because whenever I submitted my 9 games, I just wrote Slugfest, forgetting that there was a whole franchise of Slugfest. When what I really
A
meant
very short one.
was Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest for the N64, which there were some games on previous Nintendo systems titled Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, which really just sounds like he's doing some sort of like Vanna White situation at a baseball game.
So it is different games.
It's the same franchise, but they for some reason when it came to the N64, they changed the name from Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball to Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest.
Oh,
And
Okay.
this for
learn something every
me,
day.
yeah, Wikipedia also taught me that. Um, I can tell you
Did
which
it tell
one
you
it is
King
in the
Griffey
series.
Jr. came after King Griffey Sr.?
Yeah, King Griffey Jr. is the second installment of this
King
name
Griffey's.
following King Griffey Sr.
He's got a
Uh,
tray too, I think.
I don't know, but this one, I mean, I just look at the graphics for Bases Loaded 3, and then I'm comparing it to King Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest, and it looks like I feel like I'm there looking at these Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest graphics. Like you've got a picture of Griffey, he's doing the Griffey stance. It looks like, if you can imagine GoldenEye graphics, just imagine it's GoldenEye people playing baseball. Because people are probably more familiar with GoldenEye than they are with Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest for the N64. I would say this is a little bit of a nostalgia thing for me, but I do think the gameplay for this at the time was like supreme. Um, had commentators. This was you'd hit a grand slam and it was get out the rye bread because it's grand salami. Like that was said in this game. Um, you've got. I mean, it's the first game I remember where feeling like you kind of had control of the game, which is also kind of a theme that mine follows where I didn't really care too much about actual baseball game gameplay, as much as I do about team control. Um, but yeah, the Ken Griffey Jr. game, specifically Slugfest, that one was kind of my bread and butter. I think it was the last one really in the series, because he did have some ones on the NES. I think Aaron, you had a Griffey game for the NES
Mhm.
on your list in the
Super,
ninth
right?
spot.
Super Nintendo, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah. Did the Slugfest have other players besides Griffey? Did it have actual players?
I believe it is officially licensed by the MLBPA, so I believe it had
So the one for
all the people.
Super Nintendo only had Griffey. It had the teams, but didn't have
So
all
it's
the
like the David
players.
Ortiz situation, 9 Griffies every position.
Like he's the only one that was. Yeah. So
Oh,
like the
okay.
Kansas City Royals were all presidents. That's the thing I remember the most. Like Bill
Oh.
Clinton, Abraham Lincoln, the Royals were all former presidents, and so each team had a different theme. And now they were called Kansas City Royals, but they didn't have actual players.
Here, I can tell you. I have this here. The Braves are famous dance DJs. Um, the Orioles pay tribute to native John Waters. Yeah.
That's
The
what I
Red
voted for.
Sox contain members from the show Cheers.
Oh, see,
The
as a kid, I didn't know all that. That's
yeah.
funny. They don't recognize those
The
names when I'm 8.
California Angels had famous actors. The Chicago Cubs has game director Brian Ulrich standing in for second baseman Ryan Sandberg. Uh, so just the
That's cool.
people put themselves in the game.
Why not?
White Sox are former basketball players from St. Mary's or no, from St. John's University. Cincinnati Reds are writers. B. Stoker, Ian Fleming, Cleveland Indians, famous actresses and glamour girls on their team. There's A. Hepburn, uh,
That's awesome.
who was a stand-in for Sandy Alomar Jr. I could keep going, but I don't. This is going to take
Yeah.
a long time to get through.
That's all right. Yeah,
Uh,
we're good. We got the point.
Yeah, and I may have played this a couple of times, but the one I remember was definitely Super Nintendo, and even it was a wild jump from the NES. I sent you all a picture of the NES version. They did King Griffey Jr. dirty. I don't know if you want to look at that picture, but
Yeah,
they
did.
didn't spend a lot of time on the graphics on him, but I remember the gameplay
Oof.
being so good for that time.
Jared, I was
That's awesome.
surprised that you didn't have this one on your list, being the Griffey fan that you are.
Yeah, I guess I can just tell you that I played this one a few times, but it wasn't in my revolving games that I played often. Don't ask me why, but I do remember playing it. But yeah, I didn't make my list.
I think you need to surrender your Griffey gear now. Please turn it
You
on.
lose your. I never played the Slugfest version. It actually looked pretty good. I mean, like graphics, yeah.
We're good. But speaking of Slugfest, Jared,
Yeah.
you want to talk about Slugfest?
How did no one else vote for this? This game is
There was
amazing.
one other.
I've-
There was one other.
I voted for it.
Thank
We
you,
need to talk
Joe.
about it.
Yeah.
We do need to talk about it.
And I voted for the 2004 version because
Jim
our boy
Edmonds.
Jim
Yeah.
Evans is on the
Yep.
front of it.
Yeah.
Yep. And but that's the one I remember. And even shout out to my boys Neil Thornton and Cody Freeman. Even when I hang out with them, we go back and we fire this bad boy up and play it to this day. It's just such a fun game. It's so stupid but so fun. I mean, it's along the same lines of NFL Blitz. If you guys have played that, where you can just beat the crap out of people. But the commentary was hilarious. Like the two that they had just were back and forth to each other all the time. But then the fun thing is, I mean, like someone gets a double, you can go over and punch them if you want, and throw the ball back to the pitcher. But then the really fun thing that I loved about it is obviously like you get mad, you can beam someone with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that's on fire. Well, sometimes that hitter will catch it, and then his stats will get improved, and then he's on fire, and it just all chaos breaks loose. So again, definitely more of just like a exhibition, like play your friend one-on-one, not a lot to like the franchise or anything like that, but just a fun game to pick up with your friends and play.
I got
Yeah.
a funny story with it.
Go ahead.
Let me go ahead. So one thing me and Cooney would do, we had another friend named Aaron, and he kind of lived like 2 miles outside of town. So it was kind of secluded, but we would go out there and we'd watch movies and we'd play games all the time. And me and this kid named Aaron, what's up, Aaron?
Speaking of
we
Vanna,
re- we rented this from I guess our local rental
Breezes.
store here.
Yeah, name drop it.
Breezes.
Local.
Rest in peace.
And but we thought it was just a regular baseball game. We had no idea that this was the NFL blitz of the MLB. So, when at least I can think of times in the past when like you just laugh so hard, there's no sound, it's uncontrollable, and it's amazing, right? Well, Aaron swings. He gets like I think there was a home run animation or something to where you knew you just made mammoth contact, and the ball comes off the bat, and then all of a sudden my pitcher just leaps 400 feet straight up in the air and catches this, and it says like home run robbed. And again, we didn't know that this was a crazy game, so we both just started like hyperventilating and laughing. And I think that's the only time we've ever played this game, but it made my list too, just for that memory and how ridiculous it was. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it was number 10 on mine because I remember like nobody owned it, and I do remember renting it a few times playing at advanced screens. That's what I thought of too. Like I've only played it a handful of times because nobody owned it, so I couldn't put it any higher. But it was number 10 on mine. If I needed one more, it would have been Slugfest, the Edmonds one.
I think it was 8th on mine.
I think Sammy was on one of them, so I probably would have put that one on there, but ahead of the Edmonds
2003.
one. But
2003. Yep.
it was good. I mean, it was tough because Blitz. I just think Blitz did it a lot better. Like that game,
Oh,
I
for
just think
sure.
was a
Well, it's
yeah,
easier
so-
with football when the players are actually
Yeah.
supposed to hit each other.
That's true. So it was just like it was just such a weird game, and so it just didn't quite make it for me. But I respect it, and I think it's one of those that needs to be discussed if we're doing this episode, especially
I think it
And
only
I
had a
mean-
run of like 2 or 3 years, right?
But I mean,
Those
that
are the only two I know
2004
of. So said Edmonds. Those are the only two I know of.
that 2004 Cardinals lineup was stacked.
Mm-hmm.
it was just 8 David Ortizes.
Yep. And
Pretty
Griffey.
much.
Okay, Aaron, whatever
Dude,
this thing is.
So, Bad News Baseball. Has anybody ever played it besides me?
Nope.
Nope.
I've
Oh
heard
my
you
gosh.
talk about it, but no, I've never
Yeah,
played it.
this is the one that we played the most. Like Corey said, it was number 2 on mine. The Kingeries had it, and we'd play it together all the time, or I would just borrow it or steal it from them. We actually, I've got like a what do you call it, FC Twin, so a thing that plays Nintendo 8-bit and Super Nintendo 16-bit, and I found Bad News Baseball at a pawn shop, and I haven't seen it since we moved, so I don't know where it's at. But yeah, so I still played this 3 years ago. It's little league teams, but the gameplay is the best on Nintendo, the best gameplay. And it has some sweet animations, and it had a great season mode. It'd give you a code so you could save your progress when you go log back in, type the code in to go back to the game you were at. But it's also got just like the best umpires of all time. So let me
There
share
is a
my-
bunny on the cover. of
Yes,
this
let
game.
me share my screen so you can see the umpire. There's the umpire, little bunny. If it was close play, it'd go into this animation, and clearly that guy's safe. But if you were out, obviously the player wouldn't make it to the bag, and you get tagged. But just awesome gameplay for a Nintendo game. It had
says
the
fight
overhead.
on-
Yeah, the
says
fight's
fight on
weird.
the
You can't
scoreboard.
fight in this one. There were other games you could fight in. So I'm curious
Like
to see
Jerry
where our
Springer.
rankings are, and if it doesn't come up, I'll talk about a game you can fight in.
Yeah.
But this
I
is
think I
my
know what that one
favorite.
is.
This is my favorite one that I played the most. There was another one on Nintendo that had better roster control. So I'll be interested if anybody else picked that. If not, I'll talk about that one too, because that one was great too. But I can't believe you guys have never played it. It's the best one.
So, unless anybody, I mean, it sounds like nobody's gonna have anything to add since nobody played it.
Yeah, yeah.
If there are, like, I'm pretty sure, not to spoil a surprise here, but both of those games that you just mentioned are almost likely not on the top 6. So basically, any game that got double-digit points, we are now going to reveal in real time to the other 3. Joe, I know there were some maybe that you wanted to talk about. Jared, I can open the floor to you. I really only felt particularly passionate about the first 3 on my list, and they are all in the top 6. So Aaron, I believe the one that you're talking about fighting is probably Cyber Stadium Series Base Wars.
Yes.
Feel free
the
to
best
expand.
name ever for a baseball game. And it had a Super Nintendo version, like Base Wars 2000 or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was futuristic, normal baseball rules ish. Close plays, you fought to determine who was safer out, and random players would have different weapons. You didn't know. Some guys would fight with fists. Other guys, their arm would turn into a bazooka. You didn't know. Hard gameplay. The Super Nintendo version, the second one, had different stadiums, which made it even more entertaining. Like, I remember one stadium, all the fans were covered in glass except for dead center. So you could crush a ball 800 feet down the line. It would land and roll back into the field of play. So if your guy was slow, you weren't getting a homer. And then everything was fair territory, and it would just have like one stadium would just have like random circles on the ground that said foul. So if the ball landed there, it was foul. But if you popped it up behind the catcher, it's a fair ball. It had random stop signs in the outfield, and so if the ball hit that, the ball would just essentially stop. You have to go pick it up. And so yeah, base floors, a couple of variations of it. Hard gameplay on Nintendo, but just hilarious interactions with the players.
I've never played this game, but the amount of times that you've mentioned this game, I feel like I played it.
Is there an end game to it?
Death.
Pretty regular baseball. What do you mean end game?
Like, I mean, you don't play a best of 7 and win the World Series or anything at the end?
Oh, it had like a season mode, I think.
Really?
But yeah, because I remember players getting hurt and they not be like, you lose the fight, you might get hurt, be out for the game, out for a while. I have to look. I don't remember. That's a good question. If it was just exhibition or if there's a season mode.
Would you like to also briefly discuss Baseball Stars 2?
So did you ever play Baseball Stars too? Before your time? There's Baseball Stars and Baseball Stars 2.
No way.
I never.
What?
Yeah.
There's
Go
a
figure,
one
huh?
before the two?
That's how it happens, according to Wikipedia. They both had the same idea, I think, but I never played one for some reason. Just found number 2. But it had, I think, 8 teams. Like you could make a season-long tournament, round-robin tournament, and basically play a season with the regular teams, which there was like 20 regular teams, but that also had like 8 teams that were customizable. And so you could start from scratch. You'd say you get to pick one category. Do you want power? Do you want speed? Do you want pitching? Do you want defense? And so like your team would all start with baseline good in that area. And then as you won, you won money. You earned money for your ball team. And so you got to reinvest that back into your team to train the players or for just those 8 teams. Or you could trade players or sign free agents for those 8 teams. The other 20, whatever, for whatever reason, you couldn't customize. So I always had one of the extra teams and customize the rosters. And
What platform? What platform were you playing this on?
Nintendo. Baseball
Regular?
Stars 2 on Nintendo, yeah.
Go Nintendo.
And it was one of those games, it would get frustrating because there was a few Nintendo games. I think Zelda was one. You had to reset when you turned it off to save it. Like it had a save chip in it. And if you occasionally that would just wear out and the game would stop saving itself, or you did it wrong, it would delete everything. I don't know if you ever had games like that, Joe. I mean,
Zelda, man.
So frustrating. So Baseball Stars was like that. I don't know if I ever completed a season because after a while you turn it on and there's no save data. It's like, are you kidding me? So that's why Bad News Baseball was good because they gave you a code to start from where you left off.
So we could go into our top 6. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know if Joe or Jared, if there's any that you feel that were in your bottom 4 or 5 that you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, I got a few, but I don't know if they're in the top 6. So if they're not, I can just talk about them later.
Yeah, I got one that I don't think anybody else voted
Just
for,
whisper it to
maybe.
me.
Want me to type it to you?
Just whisper it. You're just saying whisper, I think.
No.
This is really great audio. You guys can
I'll say it. I'll just
go
say it.
for
Is
it.
it Wii Sports?
You and Joe both voted for Wii Sports, and Aaron
Dude.
and I did not. And you and Joe both put it pretty low.
So it didn't make it. Cool.
No.
Just real quick, dude. For the Nintendo Wii and the having to swing, man, I thought that I was a home run hitter. The only problem with that game is the motion control would not line up with the other the bar that it came with. So you'd be swinging as hard as you can, and your guy would do like a check swing sometimes. So didn't always line up, but you kind of felt like you were playing some real baseball there for a minute. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing that with my cousins and stuff when it first came out on the Wii. So some good memories there. So I had to throw it in there.
Did any Wii games make it?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh
We-
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
Wii
voted.
I'll say
Sports
another
is
one. I mean,
like,
if Aaron didn't put this on his list, with all the rage that this thing caused. Anyway,
I never liked it that much because you had no control. You swung, that was it. You didn't control the fielders. You didn't have to throw the ball. It just told you what you did
We're
in the
talking
Wii
about
baseball.
Wii Sports specifically right now, Joe.
Yeah,
that game specifically. Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Wii baseball.
I just put that on my
The
list
one
because it
you're
was
raging about, yeah, it's definitely on there.
okay. You
But
know,
the Wii baseball one.
it's the
I
first
wish they
thing that
had a
was ever
bigger
really,
version.
the first thing that was really interactive. So I feel like I didn't play it a lot, but I feel like I had to make the list because it was
Yeah.
new and
I mean,
exciting.
is there ever been a better game that got packaged with a console than Wii Sports? I mean, that was the best. It might have been the best Wii game.
And
Anyway.
the resale value tells you that it was, because you can't buy that game for under $100 right now. And it was
Go
free.
somebody. I got two of them.
Dude, you could make some money right now.
Joe, would you like to talk about Baseball Mogul a little bit more than maybe whenever you talked about it before?
No,
Since
it's gonna be the
everybody who's
exact.
listening to this.
Yeah, it's gonna be literally the exact same thing I said last time. But there's this game called Baseball Mogul, late '90s, early 2000s, and it's basically everything but playing the game. So you're more of the front office, make the moves, make the lineup,
Oh,
which, um, yeah, I mean, it makes me think I should have joined OOTP if I ever got asked to actually join it. I've been asked 50 times, I've declined it every time, but I've always loved that part of the game. I love doing the off-season stuff, the draft stuff, the contract stuff, trades. So
hmm. You're only making their case
I
stronger,
think,
Joe.
that being on a random school computer that I randomly came across, and then it was like, and I have to sneak into this room just so I can play Baseball Mogul. And I know I said before I would play the Cardinals, of course. I would trade for Sammy Sosa. Big Mac and Sammy Sosa would both hit 80 homers. I would trade for Ismael Valdez, which for some reason would win 30 games with a 1 ERA and just, you know, take the World Series. But it's the first thing I remember with that, no gameplay. You're just the front office guy or whatever. So it was a lot of fun.
We'll talk more about this later.
I bet we will.
Anyway, let's get to our top six, which is again
Woohoo! Top six.
the six games that got double-digit points. We are going to lead it off with Joe here to talk about the game that we were almost just talking about in Mario Baseball, the Mario Baseball franchise. Top six. You three all voted for it. I did not. I've never
Nice.
played it.
Oh, it's so good.
So
Shaylee, did you play this
It's-
with us at Aaron's?
and
No,
I
I
still
never played
play-
with never,
I
never
played with
you guys,
Jackson
no.
just the other day.
Okay.
We got it set up downstairs in our basement.
Yeah, I can play about it. Let me give a little
you had it the highest.
did I have it the highest?
You
So,
did.
this game, I don't know when this came out, maybe 15 years ago now. And the reason it's so high on my list and not a lot of new games are higher on my list is because I discovered through years and years and years of straining my aorta and having really high blood pressure and just going into absolute rages that I cannot play sports games. Don't get it
No.
wrong. I'm
What?
I'm a gamer through and through, but I enjoy playing other games. Sports games just make me rage. So anyway, that I should have maybe laid that ground information earlier. But with Mario Baseball. So basically, it's a Wii sports game, baseball, and it has all your favorite Mario characters on it. So everybody pitches a little different. Everybody hits a little different. If I remember right, you have your little slider bars where everybody is better at some things and some things others. And it's still pretty much early Wii, so it's not perfect. So me and Aaron played this a lot. I know I'm better at video games than Aaron. I know I'm more athletic than Aaron. So the fact that I would pretty consistently lose at this game with this stupid stuff happening, oh man, I raged at this game probably maybe more than any other game I've played. But just with all your favorite Mario characters and it being interactive, it was a great game.
And most of the stadiums, there's always a normal field, but most of the stadiums have their own obstacles and stuff. So you might just get hit by a Bowser fireball in the outfield and everybody's running for the bases. You might get frozen, whatever. And if your players had good chemistry, like Mario and Luigi, they could help each other out. Like the on deck guy could throw weapons. Now it's always like it's a spinning roulette, and it's like green shell, red shell, bomb, banana peel. You can never hit him with a banana peel, so you get that weapon. It's just stupid. But every on deck guy could shoot weapons at the fielders to try to knock them over, so that the baseball would roll further, or whatever. It's a blast.
To the chemistry thing, that always made me mad was your outfielders who could like jump off of each other. That was always a 50-50 coin flip. It never.
Oh yeah, at
Yeah,
best,
but when
at
they do it,
best.
it's like slugfest. They jump a mile
Yeah.
in the air to
And
rob
you're like, oh,
over.
they're gonna rob this one and home run. You're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool. But no,
Yeah.
rage.
Yeah, because
I can
it was the
understand.
same button as dive. Yeah, so you
Mhm.
never knew if they were going to just flop on
Yeah.
the ground or if they were
I
going to
could
throw each other in the air.
understand the rage 100%, but man, I loved that game. Was a lot of fun. Yep.
Oh wow, a little weak throw into second base.
I got that, boys. We
You
can all
remember-
four play.
Real quick, we were playing that, and your mom was having like book club downstairs, and she's like,
Oh, no.
what is all this yelling up here?"
Oh, dude. We raged at video games
Oh,
so
man.
hard.
It's like I am more after you saying that, Joe. I'm more confused about why some of these are as high as they are on your list because I've been present for some of these rages, and I don't know how you think of these games so highly based on me having watched you played them.
All
Because it
9 of
seems like
these
you would've
games created rage. If
them.
I was going to find a game with no rage, I would have had an empty list.
That game does not exist in any genre.
Yeah,
No.
I suppose that's
Joe
true.
just submits a blank list. There's my list.
All right, we will move on to number 5, which surprisingly, I don't know if you guys will believe this, only got 2 votes, but they were 2 awfully high votes. What game could it be? Oh, wait a second, it's Out of the Park Baseball.
All right.
Yeah, see you later, Jared. Joe, you need to stay here for this because I'm going to sell you on it right now.
Yeah, just say exactly what Joe just said.
I have a specific pitch for you. Yeah, it is. It is not gameplay. It is very intense managing of if you want it to be. It doesn't have to be. Like Aaron and I play it two totally different ways. Aaron will manage his entire team from A ball or rookie ball up to the majors. I typically will keep tabs on my top 20 prospects. And
I don't
make
have
sure
top 20 prospects. That's the problem.
That's true. They're all on my team. But and make sure that they're where I want them to be, and then trading contracts. You have a scout who, your scout is going to think of players differently than other people's scouts. So there's a chance that you can get a guy from another team that you think is really good, and he doesn't care about at all. You've got drafting. It's a live draft if you do online leagues, and it's crazy. It's everything you'd ever want. And the pitch that I'm going to give specifically to you, Joe, is something that I actually mentioned in our chat because we use Slack, and it's always funny when I'm at work. I'll pull up Slack on my work computer, and then like the tab in my browser will say Slack where work happens, and it's the absolute opposite of that. But because I'll be sitting there chatting with these 29 other dudes, but it's
He's asleep.
for me, it's you and I share something from our early gaming days, and that is our MMO lineage. And you when you play MMOs and you play them long enough, you get this group of people that you're consistently playing this game with, and that you get to know, and you talk about the game, you talk about life, you talk about all these different things, and like just recently, there's a guy who's actually in our league who is he was a therapist for a while, and it's gotten to the point where he's like, hey, we should chat a little bit more, guys. Like we should get to know each other. Like if you guys ever need anything, reach out to me. Like I know there's a lot of people struggling with a lot of things, and like it's created this such like a sense of community in this group, and it really scratches that itch of that MMO for me. Of like you have these people that you can talk about this game that you're playing with, but you also have this group of people that you can talk about life with, and like they're. I'm sure when you were playing WoW that like you were spending more time with these people than a lot of time than like people in real
I
life.
get what you're laying down. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why I think even outside of like me loving this management side of baseball, this game also scratches this other itch that I've had of like this MMO thing for me. But Jared, do you have a question?
Yeah, that last comment about you having this community didn't make me feel good. Isn't that what we're for? And we try to make it go on these trips, and you say no every time.
I'm not sure
They
you can
go. He tells them no too. We
Yeah.
planned a Vegas trip last year. I didn't get to go, but yeah. So the guys were like, let's get together and meet each other. And so a lot of them went to Vegas, and Corey didn't even join that Slack channel.
At least you're
Yeah.
consistent. I appreciate that,
Mm.
Corey.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Is there
great.
like
Like in
a-
the we have a general tab where we just kind of talk about the game, and then there's like if you want to mouth somebody because you just whooped them or swept them, you talk in this tab. So, and then we've got the outside of baseball where people are talking about counseling. So it's like in this tab, you can say I'm going to, kill your dog. And then in this
Well,
tab,
you're
it's
not gonna say that, but
some of
something.
those guys. The banter back and
But
forth gets pretty entertaining.
and
But then the other one, like hearts and hug emojis and
the therapist specifically, like he's I think just as good at talking
yeah,
smack to
he's a
people.
good. He's a
And then like as
trash
soon as
talker.
you go into the other tab, he's like the sweetest guy you've ever seen, and it's kind of
Yeah.
it's a funny little.
Is there a new version of the game coming out that you guys will switch to, or do you just keep rocking the old?
Yeah, we
format?
update it in March or April. We were just talking about that the other day because we're in the middle of a season now. So we will start our next season before the new one comes out. So after 1.5 more seasons in game, we'll have to upgrade to OOTP 25. It's always a year
2039.
ahead. Yeah.
Is it just like a patch, or is it a whole new game?
It's a whole new game. It's like $20. They do like a 50% off when it comes out, so it's not. You're not. Gonna
That's when I rage because the new game rates your players differently. And so you think you got awesome 80 overall prospects. The new game comes out and they're 30s. That's
So
what makes me rage.
It somewhat carries over your roster, just maybe not their ratings.
Yeah, it carries over the whole team. But
yeah.
the way the new game might evaluate players might be different than the old game. And so
Because like there are there's patches or like they update some stuff in each new game. So like things, and it's really, I think kind of what Aaron you're alluding to as well is that it might not necessarily change individual stats, but it might change the two stats that stand out the most that matter some, but maybe not as much as some people like to think they do. But anyway, it's an amazing game. I had it second on my list. Aaron had it fourth. It's an amazing game to me. I mean, I don't think if I was just playing the single player mode, it would not be second on my list.
yeah, I've
It's
tried
still
that a few
great.
times. It's boring.
Yeah. But like you can commit as much time as you want to. Like I will usually spend some amount of time on it each day, but it might just be like a quick 5 minute. I need to set my lineups, make sure that my roster is in order so nothing bad happens. Or there's days where I might be looking at it for 2 hours trying to make a deal with somebody. And that's really fun too, because you're not interacting with a computer trying to make a trade where it's just like, nope, sorry, not good enough. Like you make a suggestion, they make a suggestion. You can go back and forth for, days. And it's a lot of once you finally get that thing sorted out, it's really cool. But it looks like maybe we should move on from this. But you should play. If we get an opening, you should play. It's everything you've ever wanted based on the things you just said and me trying to sell you on MMOs. But
You should think of us next time there's an opening that comes up.
Yeah, we'll throw out that invite.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably won't get the Cardinals. The guy who has the Cardinals is pretty good.
Yeah.
But Aaron's the Mets. I'm the Rockies. It's fun. Especially at this point in 2037, nobody is around. Like Vlad Jr.'s around. Cody
Just
Bellinger
got 3,000
retired.
hits.
Yeah,
And he's like 38.
yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna kick it to Jared for number 4.
Jared, wake up! Jared, we're
No.
not talking.
No,
We're
Jared,
not
you're gonna
talking
be
about me.
super excited about this. Also, I think this is the biggest generation disconnect. Like, never mind all the NES stuff. This is the thing that I have the biggest problem with. Jared, you had it first. I had it third. The other two did not vote for it at all. It is coming in at number 4, Backyard Baseball. Come on, guys.
It single-handedly might be one of the best baseball game ever made.
It is.
And I don't even. What do you say,
It is.
Never
It is. Yes.
Never played it.
dude?
Oh my
Never played it.
gosh.
It might have the best created player ever in Pablo Sanchez.
Pablo.
Yeah,
And
people
like
talk about
what-
him all the time.
what
I-
platform?
Dude, was started on
Computer.
the computer. Yeah, and then it went to GameCube later. Um, but man, I could probably spend a whole pod talking about Pablo Sanchez.
He
Like,
was.
dude was all but Corey's height of 3'9".
His strike zone was like this big.
Uh-huh. Had the best bat. You could play him anywhere in the field, and he was the GOAT. But
He
man,
was the 1-1
just-
in any draft.
yeah, just the nostalgia behind this. Like, I could say I probably logged the most hours into this at home.
Oh yeah.
And then you had people like Pete Wheeler, who was faster than anybody on the team. And then it was cool, and then they brought in the MLB players because people like Albert Pujols as kids, Ichiro. Like, dude, you could make the best lineup in the world.
Mhm.
And then they had super cool like power ups, like the crazy bunt. You'd bunt it, and that ball is just going all over the field every which way. You couldn't grab it. And then, I mean, you could get a inside the park with Ichiro or Pete Wheeler every single time. The undergrounder was one of my personal favorites. You'd smoke it straight into the ground, and it'd pop up somewhere in the outfield.
This
There's one
would
like
be
it was
a
like-
rage for Joe. This is why
Yeah.
he didn't play it.
For sure. There was one I think that was like out of this world that you got like an aluminum bat, and I mean when you make contact,
yeah.
it literally like left the planet. Then you had some power ups on the pitching side too that were super cool, but no, it was. I mean, it was cool. It was just kids playing baseball. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, people talk about Pablo Sanchez all the time, like GOAT.
And like the stadiums were interesting. You'd be playing in like a lot between like high rise buildings. So you just like you could jack it and you just hit it off the wall. And you had
Mhm.
one where there was a pool in left field and like a fence around a yard barn. So it had kind of just like a little indent in center field. I mean, it was like you're playing in the backyard. Yeah, shocker.
I wonder if they
Um,
thought about that for a name.
I don't know, but
We'll have to go back to that, I think.
I mean, it was the best. You guys, I think based on what because the next 3 we all voted for all 3 of them. But I think there needs to be a time. Never mind a baseball trip. We just need to have a baseball day where we play Mario Baseball and Backyard Baseball and do some tournaments. Then we then we get everybody to play OOTP. But anyway, moving on. So nobody can say no about that.
Well, I'll just
Backyard
say this,
baseball's the
Corey.
best.
I'll join your little league if you come on a baseball trip with us.
Same.
Okay.
Oh,
I think you're joining our league anyway, Joe.
I'm going to tell everybody in our Slack that we have 2 new GMs if Corey would just be a good friend.
Bingo.
Okay. I guess this is like it's a very singular criteria for me to be a good friend, I guess. Like never mind
AKA
anything
easy.
else. Okay.
No, that's all we need you to do is be a good friend. Is just come on these trips with us. Everything else is fine. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, you're good at everything else
you guys are not being very
except for
nice to
showing
me.
up.
Okay. Aaron, I'm gonna kick it to you. We're gonna
Okay.
lump these 2 and 3 together. So you might know what they are because they're by the same people. We had coming in at number 3, MVP baseball, and coming in at number 2, triple play baseball, which are both
Ooh.
EA titles.
Mhm.
I was a little surprised that triple play came out ahead of MVP. Again, I think that's kind of a generational thing here because you and Joe both had it pretty high. Jared actually had MVP higher than triple play. I had both of them pretty low. MVP and triple play were both fine. It's a baseball game. You had John Dowd.
What years did everybody have?
My goodness.
I had
I think it was.
2005.
I think MVP was all 2005.
Yeah.
Um, triple play. Let's
I
see
think I put
here.
We'll play
2001.
2000 for me.
I put 96.
Yeah, yours was super.
That's my favorite. I play that all the
Yeah,
time.
you had
Uh,
96.
Who's on the
Joe
cover of that?
had 2000.
Nobody. It's just a random catcher. It might
So
be like Oakland's. Can't really tell.
my
So
triple
go
play
ahead.
memories come from like I was the youngest of my entire family, so like my brothers. I remember playing this on like vacations. Like this, we would take a game system on vacation for downtime, and like we would play triple play. And so this is maybe the most one where nostalgia comes into play for me. I don't really remember playing it that much, but I just like the
Sure.
whole part of all of that. And like MVP, it was fine. It was a baseball game. Eh. Go ahead, Aaron.
So Triple Play 96 is what I played the most on Sega Genesis. It had Creative Player on there, but it didn't have Chipper Jones on the 96 Braves because 95 it had 95 rosters and he didn't play 94. So Chipper went on there. So you could create Chipper and it would generate random stats. So I remember trying like if I spell his name with Larry, if I spell his name with Chipper, how can I spell his name to get the best version of him to be generated? But what I remember the most, two things, me and the Kingeries, and I think Vanstream was in on this too. We did like a dynasty mode. We would sit around the Sega. We each had our own team, and then we would do trades and stuff with each other in 96. Like it didn't really have that mode, but we would just control multiple teams over a couple seasons. But if we switched, it had like the behind the batter in 1996, it had like the behind the batter view, which most games have today for hitting. But if you switch back to the old school view of up top, like a lot of those Nintendo games had, you could just hit like crazy. So me and Josh Kingery played a whole season on this one time as the Braves, but we traded for Frank Thomas. So Frank Thomas was our DH and Fred McGriff was our first baseman. And I honestly don't remember the totals now, but just playing it on the hardest level, but from the overhead view, um, both of them had over 100 homers and both of them had like over 300 RBIs. So I just remember spending a whole summer playing this game. We're like, how many homers can we hit on triple play? But yeah, then it switched to MVP in what, like 2001, 2002 on the newer consoles.
Mm-hmm. Close
And
enough.
yeah, played a lot of MVP 05 with Joe in college. We did dynasty modes where we had different teams and a lot of fun battles.
My experience, I mean, triple play brings back the most memories. I think I probably played just as much as MVP, but my intro was EA Sports. It's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I had to hear that 400 trillion times. Every time you started the game, you couldn't skip that screen. That was going to play, and that dude's voice was going to play. And so my my console journey went from NES to PS1. I had nothing in between. So if I wasn't at somebody's house, I was still I was playing NES. So I begged and begged and begged for a PS1. This would have been 2000, 2001, and finally got one and then got Triple Play 2000. So I played it a ton. Aaron, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up. You're going to remember it as soon as I say it. Pretty sure this was Triple Play and not MVP, but we're doing the home run derby at Aaron's house, and he or Van Streen, the other Aaron, picks Greg Maddox for the home run derby. And I'm playing like I don't know who I was, Big Mac or
McGuire, yeah.
yeah. So and Maddox is hitting bombs and like beating me, and first of all, I'm an idiot that I didn't pick up on this earlier, but I kept hearing like some type of swoosh in the game, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm raging, of course. So anyway, there was some code to where you could type it in right before the pitch, and then you just hit a bomb. So I get beat by Greg Maddux in the home run derby. That was a good memory. But I played that a lot.
It made a bong sound to go bong, like
Yep.
to confirm that it was in bong. Pitch
Mhm.
scub, I type it real quick, hit a 500-foot homer, bong. And Joe, I mean, this is 10 minutes of him just screaming and yelling and running around my parents' basement. What is that noise? You're doing something. Me and Aaron are like, we don't hear it. He's about to destroy my parents' house. He's like, I hear this noise, and then Maddox hits this ridiculous homer. We're like, we don't hear it. 600-foot homer.
My gosh.
You got some
I can
bad
only
friends,
imagine.
Joe.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm the bad friend here, huh?
No, it's Aaron now.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't have too many memories of triple play. I mean, it made my list because I played it a few times. I played a lot more MVP. 2005 specifically. I remember my brother had it, and I always watched him play, and then I would play it when he would not be home without him knowing. Sorry, Adam.
Was that Manny on the cover
Mhm.
or David Manny?
Manny. And
David
dude,
was the first of the show.
not just a good gameplay for that, but if I remember, had a pretty solid soundtrack to it too.
That's what I was going to mention is maybe the most memorable part of those games for me is the soundtrack over
Yeah.
anything else.
So that's why I fired that up all the time. But yeah, Corey, what you got with it?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I don't. I think it was good gameplay, but nothing really stood out to me. Especially I think in comparison to kind of our far and away number one, which I'm sure everyone's on the edge of their seats about and can't quite figure out what it is. But
Tecmo
it's
baseball.
yeah. Well, that's actually bad news baseball. It's Tecmo baseball.
They had a regular game,
Oh, did they?
like the football game, and it wasn't popular.
Was bad news baseball popular for anybody but you?
Oh, I'm gonna look up how many units they sold.
Okay, nerd. Um, I played MVP a lot for sure. I think mostly because it was what I felt like was available and popular, and the soundtrack slapped. But I don't I feel bad saying I don't think that highly of it, but just like going through this list. So MVP was my eighth, triple play was my seventh. And I think, yeah, like I said, I gave triple play the edge because the nostalgia factor. But everything else, I just have much fonder memories of. Talking about an EA Sports game, NCAA baseball is my favorite because it was super customizable, and Aaron hated that. But um, we can the moment everybody's been waiting for. If you guys are ready to get to it, we can get to it.
Get to it.
The game that I've seen someone get more mad about than any other game before in my life. On the perfect, ground out to shortstop.
Dude, I was gonna bring that up too.
The gold standard to baseball games, I think, far and away. MLB The Show. Pick whichever game you want. I just picked the franchise. Um, I think if you are looking for that balance of gameplay and team management, and then the kind of road to the show, I think is a whole new game. I don't know if MVP had anything like that. I don't remember it. Okay, but the road to the show thing where you basically play as a singular guy and make your way up. You put it on rookie. You put yourself as a max power, max contact. You just hit 45 homers in single A in 20 games and move on.
No, you still don't get called up.
Yeah. It's like, guys, I'm hitting 600 with 45 homers. It's like, hey, you need more time, kid.
I'm sorry,
on your
being
launch
blocked.
angle.
Yeah, sorry, we got Daniel Descalzo playing second base. Um,
No, that's fine. I'll stay down.
but I don't think you can get better. And maybe it's just because they don't have any competition. I don't need to read your articles about bad news baseball that you're sending
I
us.
can't even get it to load, Aaron.
Yeah, I clicked on it. I resend it. No, it's the score.com does the 10 best Nintendo baseball
Okay.
games.
Congratulations,
So
it made
just
it on number 9.
yeah, look what number 2 is.
I don't know what number 2 is. It Baseball Stars? Oh, Base
Scroll
Wars.
down. So every NES game I said is on there. I've never heard of Bo Jackson Baseball,
Um.
but you were asking.
Anyway, sorry for the interruption.
I did mean for you to bring that up. I was sitting that in chat for later. I didn't know anybody was gonna go crazy about it.
Um. It's the I mean there is not a lot of competition for it, but I do think it is a very well polished game. And I mean with sports games especially, you get basically a reiteration of the game previously. I think there's been kind of some stagnation as far as advancements that it's made recently. I also haven't played some of the recent installments, so maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about, which is normal. But it is very good, except when you perfect a ground out to shortstop.
Who are you talking about? You've seen the read
You.
from?
You, dude.
You know exactly
Why don't I?
who.
Well, I know
I
I do
brought-
that, but I don't remember doing that in front of
I
y'all.
Dude,
Oh,
I remember bringing
you
this
blacked
over to
out
your
then.
house one time. The
And what happened?
console- You won.
You were playing with the Braves.
Oh, yeah. No, I was playing with the Braves. I gave you the controller and you had to walk off over to Chipper. Yeah.
I
remember
did.
that.
Grand Slam. I said, let me try
Yeah.
this. What year was that?
Oh, man. Like 2015
I remember this.
Yeah.
or 16, maybe?
Yeah.
Or maybe earlier. I don't remember.
It had to
but
be
yeah.
before,
Had to be
about there.
earlier.
PS3. Because yeah,
It was on the
every year is
PS3.
a little different timing. It always takes a little bit of getting used to when to swing for each year. I don't know why it's so different every year. But yeah, you were playing up, bases got loaded, Chipper comes up. I go, let me have that one swing, Grand Slam. See ya.
But Joe, yeah, it's you, man. I remember vaguely always it would be like perfect contact, perfect timing. And you'd be like, oh, here's a ground out to the shortstop. And it was. And then Cooney or me or someone would hit next and it would be like a late, okay, contact, 450-foot shot.
See how stupid this is? My skill
There
is
was a-
superior, but the game cheats me.
There was a bong right before that. Bong.
Bong.
I think I picked the show 19 specifically for two reasons. Mainly because our boy Bryce Harper's on the front of it. But I think I played the crap out of that one. That was the one I felt like they really like started to maneuver a lot of the mechanics and stuff and more in depth. As far as like the behind the scenes with your team and stuff like that. And obviously the gameplay is always a little bit better with each year. But I definitely played 19 more than probably any other show ever.
I had the show as number one as well. Like I said, I've long quit playing these types of games for all the reasons everybody has been saying. But I know, when I was playing it, even those early versions, and like Corey said, it doesn't have any competition really. So it's an amazing game unless you're mentally fragile like I am and can't handle it.
Oh, that's growth, Joe. You admitted it.
Yeah. Step one.
First step, right?
I got a guy you can talk to.
I picked 17, I think. Is that the Griffey one? It was the first one for PS4. And I still have my PS4. I played that one a lot. And then I didn't get the next one. I kept playing that one. And now I don't know what I've got, 21, 22. So I haven't got the last couple. I still got my character going on I'm the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm like 34, 35 on my way to the Hall of Fame, but I haven't played it in forever. But yeah, it's just a blast. Everything about it is the gameplay's smooth, or if you just want to do dynasty stuff. I started doing the ultimate, whatever they call that, the online version where you get the cards. That's always a lot of fun, just trying to figure it out. The one thing I just don't get is how come the online servers are always so bad. Like they're not any better. Like it's hard to play against other people because it's
The lag
so
is
laggy,
really bad, yeah.
so laggy. So I don't know. That's kind of why I stopped playing it, because you can't play with your friends. So maybe they fixed that on the new next gen consoles. I haven't played anything on PS5.
I haven't played online with the PS5, but I did get the new show and they've definitely done a lot more with like the drafting, the prospect side of things. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like gives you more
Nice.
in depth into scouting and all that fun stuff. So
Can you move the team and build stadiums and all that?
Hmm.
You can build.
Yep.
Oh, that's stuff I've been waiting for. Because I mean, they've had that on Madden. Joe and I had some fun with Madden moving teams around in college. We'll save
Yeah.
it for off air.
Yeah, the end on that.
That's an off air topic. But sorry, Jason Southworth.
Oh, geez.
We'll just say this: we had
Sorry, Jared.
there was 4 of us on that franchise, or was it just the 3 of us? I can't remember if anybody else was with us. Was Van Street on that? I think it was just the 3 of
I
us.
don't
We
know.
were doing a dynasty or whatever it's called, a Madden, and we were all agreed, hey, we're going to my parents' house, my attic, college break. We're going to play, and Jason didn't show up, so it was the off season. So we punched him and moved his team. He was the Bears.
You don't want to leave or not show up if you have said you're going to rally, regardless of what game you're playing. Something's going to happen.
The Bears did not stay in Chicago very long.
Okay, let's get us out of here. But
I need to go get the host real quick to get us out.
all right, and then if anybody, all you people who always comment, let us know.
Bud,
if
what's
there's
your
any
favorite
game-
baseball game of all time?
Somebody else.
Let us know.
Anybody. Yeah. If you see Joe in County Market, anybody, just let him know and he'll forward it on to us.
Yeah. And one of these days, we're going to have a pod where we're together playing baseball games all day. It's going to be fun. All righty,
Corey-
guys.
Corey might be there.
I'll zoom in.
Yeah, you can't play bad news baseball over
We're
there.
gonna
guys. You
we're
have
gonna
to be
show
there.
up wherever you're at. We're just gonna show up there.
Sounds
I got a
good.
pool party baseball gaming dayer.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Corey invited us over to his house. We
I
don't
might
know where
not
it's
be here,
at,
but you can come.
we're going to be there.
I'll find it.
All righty, guys. Until next time, don't forget to pop the thumb
Rake.
blisters.
Your position.
What?
Rank your position.
I got a permanent callus. I don't get no
Oh, you got the
blisters.
callus built up.
Give